All right.
Okay. You see the plugin manager?
Yep.
Okay, this is for when people have all the plugins that they have installed.
This looks much cleaner.
And let's say if you want to search, you just type in something like that, and it automatically starts selecting from the list down. You don't even have to press enter. If you want to go by tags, you're able to go through and say, I want to find random, and it'll automatically show you what was there.
Cool. This looks much cleaner.
If you go into it, you can go to there and you can go from either here and enable and disable, or even just right from here if you want to turn it off and on.
Cool.
So that came out pretty good. I
I think
still do not
so.
have I still do not have a plugin for chat history yet, but I didn't really expect to today. For me, it was just like I said, the back end has the information, is working, and sometime this week, probably this weekend, I'll sit down and do a plugin for it for the interface, and it'll be working then.
Cool. What's Star Wars?
Oh, this is me. I was just playing with building routes through the interface. Let's see when we come into here. It may not completely work because I was tearing it apart a moment ago. But like if I come to here and if I want to change the order, I can change the priority and that will determine the order on the list. So they have complete control on how they want this to go.
Okay, cool.
So and like I said, our concept was the fact that they would have it's your system. You do what you want. It's however you want. And then if you go over here to creating a route. Actually, where was that? But anyway, they can create, which will be these menus right here, your BrainDrive or Star Wars exactly. You put in the name, it'll automatically, like if you put in a name, like let's say let's go Star Trek, it'll start to fill it out for you, so it's actually correct. I've tried to make this as seamless as possible. This comes from the icons come from a list and material, and we'll point I'll have a link so they can go look at it. But it basically starts as soon as you start typing in, it'll show you the icon that you actually selected right there, and you don't have to wait till afterwards. If you get nothing, it'll be a question mark, and that means you haven't completed the text phrase for it to be working. So there'll be
Okay.
a visual indication of if you got the right one or it didn't, or you didn't have the right one.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and then of course this is the priority, a description, and you can select default. I don't have anything in there right now. But yeah, I'm just cleaning this up, so I'm not going to get too crazy until I get done cleaning up. If you do not have like default pages, that's going to be the normal one you're used to. Let's go to here. Boom.
Oh, nice.
So if you select something that doesn't have it, you will have, of course, the BrainDrive logo, your AI, your rules, which one you selected. It tells you where to go to actually assign one. And of course, the description that you put in will be right there. So they'll
Cool.
have, yeah. So they'll have the availability to play and have some fun and really, especially as I start pushing to create this to look and act like however they want.
Yeah, this all looks a lot cleaner than the last time.
Yeah, it's getting there. I just created a prompt yesterday to help me redesign some of these components so that the developers that come behind us, the builders and the
Yep.
entrepreneurs, they will have a much cleaner architecture to work with. I had two files in there that I didn't realize by the time I was done with them. They were literally over 2,000 lines long. And that's a lot for anybody to wrap their head around. So it was like I'm breaking them up, and I will give them in our little documentation the prompt that I use for them to design new components, and it'll take care of all the work for them.
Cool.
Um, but other
So
than
when
that,
you
go ahead.
when you log in,
Yep.
is this the page you're gonna see or something else?
Right now, if you were to log in, and if this is going to change,
Not right now. I'm
yeah,
talking
but
about, but what's the vision?
the vision is you would log in, and the first page you would see would be your brain drive. This would be the page where it says "Welcome back, David Jones," and it has uh, action buttons for you to go to. This is going to be next week a page from BrainDrive Studio. So that way, when the user wants to come here and create whatever they want to create to see, they can. So they will have complete control over the first page even.
Okay, do you think so? I'm thinking that we should give people like a default that,
No, they will have a default.
okay,
There will be a default that comes up. It'll be working, it'll be functional, and they will have the ability later on to change it if they desire.
and
But
what is that default?
that I do not have done yet.
Have you thought about it?
Yes, I want to, like you said, a little welcome screen, of course, action buttons to the main pieces that are in every brain drive, which will be the plugin manager, settings, and plugin studio, and then also a screen that for the chat interface where you can ask, it'll say, hey, do you have a question you want to start with? You type it in and it will automatically take you to something like this once you do, and you can start talking to it. But it'll start with your question, whatever. So like right here, if you were on here and the action question was here, you would type in, tell me the history of Christmas. So you type that in and it'll automatically open up where, oh, nope. I lost my, see, that's what I was afraid. I'm still in the progress of designing a bunch of stuff. There we go. Where they'll open this screen here. It'll already be working on streaming and you can go in, what is the history? I selected a large model, so
All right.
it'll take it a moment to load up and like that.
All right. This all looks a lot better.
Yeah. See,
Um,
and then right here on the you have the model selection. The next screen or the next drop down will be, of course, chat history. So somebody could take a look at what they've done before, select one if they want to go back to a conversation or start a new chat, and then the right after that, the next plugin I probably want to proceed doing would be personas.
all right. So people are going to download, the BrainDrive using the command line or the installer or Docker or whatever their
Yep.
choice is, right?
Yes.
And then the browser's gonna open, or they're gonna go to localhost 3000 or whatever it is,
Yep.
right? And they're gonna see that yep. Um, and yeah, this looks good. They're gonna
And
log in,
boom.
or register actually is the first thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is going to take them to the system and some page,
Yes.
right? Okay. I think we need to think about, like, what is the cool thing about this system is you can do whatever you want with it.
Yes.
Right?
But the first step is giving them something to see and play with, of course.
Well, and yeah, what that thing is should speak to the primary value proposition
Hmm.
that people are coming to the system for, right?
Yep.
So let me give you an example. So, my former business partner, Mark, is building a app for to help people with gambling addiction,
Yep.
right? And so there's various different value propositions there, but the one that I was talking to him about is like, well, the cool thing about using AI for this is it's on demand.
Yes.
Most people, when they realize they have a problem, it's like, okay, especially if I don't already have a therapist, right? I
Yep.
have to go through a very painful process of trying to find one and blah, blah, blah. And even when you call even when you call the gambling addiction hotlines, they're just trying to refer you out to a therapist,
Yes.
and
They're
anyone.
not trying to help you in the moment. They're trying to funnel
Correct.
you.
Right, which is, so my thing was like, the primary value proposition is I can talk to someone right now. And
Yep.
so I was like, obviously, you need you know, you're going to need information from the person and blah, 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 and to get them to sign up for an account and stuff. But like, I'm like, just drop them right into a chat initially, right? Because
Yep.
you know the initial, it's just the initial questions that you can ask of just like, and also, you know, for most people for for that dynamic, I don't think our dynamic or our group is like this, but our initial group anyway. But most people like have never even talked to an AI, so just the magic of having someone there, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Someone you know, really shows that primary value proposition of I can talk to someone right now,
Yeah,
right?
now there's been articles, especially taking Mark's example, of using AI as at least some type of therapist for people.
Yeah, I'm doing it like with like we took some coaching around my daughter who's like highly sensitive
Yep.
and I uploaded all the files to a project and like we talked to Claude about
There you go.
it. So and it's good, you know, is it as good as talking to the woman that did the coaching? No, but is it a hell of a lot better than nothing? Hell
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah,
know?
it gives you, like you said, it's like, rather than getting a funnel, you can have somebody that has an intermediate step.
Right. And
You know,
it also
rather.
gives us it also allows us to have a much more thoughtful discussion.
Mhm.
You know, when if and when we do talk to the expert.
Yep.
So all right, so that's not the primary value proposition for us, right? The people
Yep.
that are coming to this, it is very unlikely that they've never talked to an AI before.
Especially the developer group. That's why it's like, I think for me,
Right.
that initial is like you said, the way to start a chat immediately. So the panel of ask your question.
Well, okay, so so my question is from a big picture standpoint is okay, we're targeting Adam Carter,
Yep.
right, as our primary persona. And I would even say within Adam Carter, you know, who's the owner, builder, and entrepreneur, you know, if you know, we want the weighting of that to be heavily owner and builder, right? Like so
Yes.
basically if someone came in and they were like, I just want to build this thing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's fine. But usually the people that want to do that, um, you know, are building it because they want to make money off of
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
um, so all right. So, you know, I think we need to be, you know, very clear here that what Adam Carter is going to want to see here
Mhm.
is potentially very different from why Katie Carter is coming for, you know, the contents side of things, right?
Because to get to that one, I think we need just a little bit more time than what we have for launching.
Well,
But I think,
it's not even to me, it's not really even about the time. It's just about, you know, we want to be laser targeted initially
yep.
on who we're serving,
Yeah,
right?
because I like when you register, if you pick a drop down, because we're taking names, your name, or not, we are, they are. If you select, hey, I'm a developer, you would get screen A. If you select, I'm a builder, you stumbled upon this, you would get screen B. If you pick
Yeah,
entrepreneur, you would get screen C. And
yeah,
we can develop these screens based on their selection.
right. So what shows up on that screen
Yep.
is what the primary value proposition that this person cares about. Like that's the whole thing with these apps is
Yep.
we want to show that person that aha moment
Yeah.
as early as possible, right away.
Yep.
And we want to put as few roadblocks in front of them um, to do that as possible. So they register. So
Yep.
what is the before we get into what the function of the system is going to be to
Yep.
show them that, let's just make sure we're clear on what is the primary value proposition for Adam Carter. What's the primary reason he's coming to this system?
Well, he wouldn't be as close to Katie, but he would be either heavily or 50-50 on the developer and entrepreneur side of
Right. So
things.
he's coming because he wants to build something with
Yep.
this.
Yeah, and his reasons for building it could be personal or making money or both. But no matter what, he's a developer at heart, so he's
Right.
going to be building.
Right. And so
Yeah.
probably the reason why Adam Carter is going to come to BrainDrive, the primary reason and the primary value proposition is I want to build something in the AI space,
So
right?
for that person, I would
Or do we
probably
do we agree with that though before
yes,
we
no,
okay.
exactly, yes, completely.
Okay. So
So when he
that's what we're betting on with this system it is that the ability to build with it is the
yep,
key differentiator against, I still think it's early enough in this process that like just having a system that you can own and control is still novel enough. But not for Adam Carter, probably. For Adam, the ability to build is what he's looking for and what differentiates BrainDrive from the other systems that are out there that you can own and control, which is that we're designed to be built upon. That's what this is.
I would for Adam, I would probably have a multiple approach. Um, and I would have a something sitting there with a list, not a big list and all like that, because it'll just be links to information. And it would be local information as well. Because I think that'll be very important for the people that want to be local only and demonstrating that as much as possible. But it would be like, hey, the rule file for developing your own plugin. So they can see it immediately. The fact there are several models, and we can list them in order of our recommendation of both here. For online, these models are best. For offline, because there are some React models that are coming up right now, these models are best. And so they can see the first screen, the pieces, the puzzle pieces of what they would use to build with and the information so that they can go immediately and go, I can do this. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Explain it one more time.
Okay, because for me, the screen would, like I said, I'll go with the left side and the right side. The left side would have like the prompts, the rule file, um, the little pieces of information that I use that are actually used for creating a plugin. Because they'll take a look at that and they'll see quickly what I've been doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so like, good example. Let me find it real quick. Here's the prompt that I was working on this morning as an example. And this is used for just creating a plan, but it gives you a scope of an idea. Let's get to, where are we? Here we are. How do you get to chat from this?
Oh, and Zoom.
Yeah,
If you gotta have the
there we go. Okay, there we go. Now chat. Yep. Are you gonna, there we go. Oh, I'm over.
uh
I'm still over. There we go. And I'll give you the second
it's
part.
so cool to see this thing like being birthed.
I really, when I was thinking about it, I was like, it's crazy to think. It's like, I mean, I want to say 90, but the truth is, if you look at the first 2 weeks where we bounced a little bit, and then windsurf, we bounced 2 weeks like that. But in 60 days, we have came up with this,
Yeah.
and what I
No,
can
you
do
you
with this.
have you
Well, no,
have
it's not. It's a team sport because
yeah.
it's like some of this stuff is like I would have tripped on because I get too caught up in advanced crap.
Yeah, it's a good partnership because I don't even understand the advanced crap.
But the idea is like here is displaying that, hey, this is the prompt that you would use to develop a plugin and to get a plan that works within this system. And it'll give them an entire outline of a plan to build. And all you have to do is tell the AI, then point to it and go, build that. And I am almost on 100% the first time it works right now for anything. So it's like we give them those tools right on their screen that first moment, and they can see that they're able to use the same tools that we're using. So it's almost an invitation. Hey, come on in and play. Does that make sense?
It does. I get it now. All right. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but let's just stress test this a little bit.
Yep.
You know, I'm not sure the person coming into like I think probably due to the nature of the fact that we're still so early with
Yep.
this, um, the primary reason why people are going to come to this is they saw your post in the local llama
Yep.
group, or I think we can actually just reach out to people with this, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Because it's free, it's like, and I think it's novel enough that people aren't going to be like, stop spamming me for the most part,
Yep.
especially if it's like not like an automate, it's just like it's an actual email from one of us,
Yep.
or message on a Reddit or whatever. So, I think the reason, I guess I would rephrase what I was going to say is I still think the reason that Adam Carter is going to do this is like, oh, here's another open web UI type system. Let me check it out.
Yep.
Right. But what they're really going to love is the build on top of, right?
Yep.
Even those people will say, if we see somebody who says, "Hey, I'm trying to build this thing," all the local systems like they're just not customizable enough right
Yep.
now. And we'll be like, "Hey, check out our system," right? Even that person, right? They're definitely coming in because they want to build. Um, I still think it might be a little bit of a leap for them to like it's almost like too awesome. You know what I mean? It's almost like too far ahead that their mind is going to wrap around. I can just take this prompt and build a plugin for this,
Yeah.
right? Before I've even
Yes.
seen a plugin. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like I don't even really know 100%. I guess I know what a plugin
Yep.
is, but like I don't know what it is in this system and how that all
But see,
works.
Adam would know what a plugin is, and
Yeah.
he'll immediately be able to sink his mind in. He understands the concept. He may have never designed a plugin, but he's probably used them because if you've been using VS Code, it's all plugins, or they call them extensions, but they're there. Then maybe a different approach rather than too much information. How about a little slideshow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm not dead set against the slideshow,
Yep.
especially for Adam and that use case. I just don't think we can always end, if we can't come up with something, you know
Yep.
what I mean? I think the answer is slideshow or video.
Yeah, well, because in
Yeah.
either case, well, you take the builder, you take the developer, and you take the entrepreneur. Each one of those would have a different slideshow.
Okay, what do we want for for the builder
Yeah.
that's also a developer, right?
Yep.
What do we want? We want that person to create a plugin,
Yep.
right?
So the first thing we would do is, hey, this is a plugin architecture. This is the framework in which we've used. So you'll be using React. We have a Python background or a backend. Um, then it would probably go to the next slide. It probably just a very simple, not detailed, but hey, this is a quick hello world. Could even go so far as here's how a hello world comes together.
Can can we just put the Hello World example up?
That's what I was going to give to. And then direct them that the Hello World plugin is already in their system to go take a look at. So they'll be able to see it all. They'll have just to understand the initial. Here's an overview, and now for the next layer, here's where the plugin's located. You can go take a look at it. It'll be well commented, and that's the perfect world for a developer. Is they can go look at code that's actually well commented, and they can read it right there.
The end goal here, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
we should start with this, but um, I think that the Nirvana world here is we throw people into a chat window that has a model that's fine-tuned
Yep.
to talk to them about this.
I haven't played with it, but somebody just threw up what this week, a React model trained totally on React, and that's the one I'm looking for because that could be all local. And there's a 7B, I think a 14B, and I don't know if there's a bigger
Yeah, I
one than
think
that.
we need like a 1B for this though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's also a constrained enough use case, you
Yep.
know what I mean? Like we'd want this to run on any computer, you
Yep.
know, but it's also a constrained enough use case that I think we could do it with a small model, don't you? Just
It
in
depends.
terms of like explaining what this is and like how
Yeah.
to use it and blah blah blah. Not
Yes.
like, hey, code a plugin with this model or
Yeah,
whatever.
true. Okay, yes. It should, especially if it's been trained anywhere. I'll look and see to find the smallest React model that understands React and Python.
No, I
And
don't even think this is a let use this model to code the plugin. I'm just talking about even simpler of just like, hey, welcome to BrainDrive. Tell us a little bit about what you're looking to do today. You know, BrainDrive,
yep,
you own our mission is to help you build, control, and benefit from your own AI system. This model is running completely locally on your computer right now. It's designed to help you get up and running. To start off, tell us what you're looking to do with the system. I want to build a plugin. I want to blah blah blah. I mean, there's probably a bucket of 10 things, right, that people are going to want to do,
yep,
right? And then, the system like it's a guide, right?
yep, yep, yep. No, no.
So but it's not like, okay, I want to code a plugin. And then it's like, okay, great. I'm setting up your IDE, blah, blah, blah. It's not
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I want to build a plugin. Great. We've got a Hello World plugin set up for you. If you want to do this in your IDE, go ahead. If you want to code within BrainDrive, then we recommend either connecting to the API or if your computer's powerful enough, download and run this model. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whatever.
So how about this then? Because no, especially smaller model would have the context to do that by training. But if we jump to, let's say, personas, right? And how they work. The persona, we'll call it Mr. Brain Drive for lack of better words right now. He has a context window that is prepped with information about our system.
Right.
So when you load up this, especially for the first time, and that chat window's up there and it says, ask me a question about Brain Drive. And you'll be able to say, hey, I want to design, like you said, I want to design a little plugin. And it'll say, great. This is the basic concepts of how plugins are generated because the context window will have been created with our documentation and you can ask questions against that. And conceivably, the user might not even know that is happening. They're just
Yeah.
be able to talk to it.
Okay. Now, and also we can still throw in the video, like it's like as part of the prompt for that model,
Yep.
we can throw in, if you get confused, just give them this video or give them this slideshow.
Yep.
And that slide shows 5 slides, and it's like, this is all the things you can do with the system,
Yep.
and with arrows pointing to where it is, right?
Yep.
So we're not going to get this chat interface, right?
Yep.
That you're dropping into is, is really just designed to understand whether you're an owner, builder, entrepreneur, or some combination, right?
Yes.
Direct you to the right first aha moment.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I think we give some people a major, but other people a micro aha moment with just like, I'm up and running with an AI system that's running completely 100% on my computer,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And I'm talking to it. You know what I mean? And that still, I think, even for us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still a magical experience,
No, very true. In fact,
Um,
most people that just the fact that most people who touch this will be if you've touched any other systems, which any developer has, you're used to the dog and pony show, jumping through hoops just to get it running.
yeah.
And instead, we're going from you install it, it's up, you log in, you register, you log in, and you can ask a question regarding Brain Drive right there in the moment.
So and I yeah, I think it's as small as we might even be able to go way sub a billion with this. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like we're not talking about a complicated use
No,
case.
no, exactly. I'll look at the smallest like llama models that are recent. They do. I know they have a 1 billion. They might have. There might be some smaller ones, and look at the context window that we have to deal with,
Yeah.
so that we all, because we're not worried about its knowledge, just its ability to read the context window and answer a question regarding it. It's like a little baby mini rag, or it's a CAG actually, because we're using the context.
Yeah, it's exactly. And we can be very specific about the prompt that and also like it can okay, so we can be very specific about the prompt, only answer questions related to helping this person get started with BrainDrive,
Yep,
right? Anything else that they ask, just say something like, this is new,
yep,
I'm sorry I can't help with that, but here's a brief video or slideshow or whatever that goes through all the different functionality, right? And if
yep,
you have a question, here's the forum, here's the
yep.
support forum. I think just that, you know what I mean, is like,
I gotta go with this. I like this idea. This what I mean. It's like me, I go one direction. It's like, but I like this better because it's like if we can pull this one off right there, it almost demonstrates the amount of thought that goes in behind the scenes. Because anybody, whether you're at which level you're at, you encounter the same problem, you don't know what you're dealing with, and it quickly will give them the ability to interact with an AI and get some type of information that we want them to have, not necessarily what some AI made up. Or
yeah,
sending them off to a link on a forum to read documents that they had the opportunity to read beforehand but didn't.
right, right. And by sending people that want to go to the support forum, we can further tune the brain drive model, the
Yep,
brain drive guide model,
based on feedback.
based on what people are asking in that forum, right?
Hmm.
Um, and because my whole thing is, and I want to be conscious of, we want to get launched and we don't want to be religious about anything right now. Like, and I think that's another, like I listened to, do you know who Richard Stallman is? The,
No.
he's like the guy who did the GNU public
Oh,
license
okay.
and
Yep, 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 yep,
yeah,
yep, yep, yep.
and all that. And I really like he's very much aligned with what we're doing, right? And sort of actually the godfather of this.
Yep.
But he's so like he won't use any proprietary software, and I understand why, and I actually agree with his reasons. But like you're never gonna get I don't think you're ever gonna get there, with being that religious about it. I think it's good that he is that religious about it, and it's like he's like a martyr,
Yeah.
in
I
that sense. But anyway, I think we have to play on the field, that exists right now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be so religious about anything except for the few like the pillars,
Yeah, exactly. Because
the
I agree with you on if you get, because I know me, part of my failing points as a game developer is I don't want to download somebody else's crap. I always want to code it myself.
yeah,
However, that takes time.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's like religion will trip you more than it will help you. It's great
yeah,
that there are religious people.
yeah,
I'm all for you, but
yeah,
but at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is A, what you believe in, you stick to, and that your users are happy.
yeah. So I don't want to like be religious about this, but I 100% feel that that in the AI powered world, you should not have to even click around to stuff. You
Yep,
know what I mean? Like you should just be talking to the AI of the system, and it's the interface and everything is changing and modifying and morphing um based on your discussion,
yep.
with that AI. So I think this is like a fine first step towards that. And
Because in a perfect world, getting to where you're talking about is the small tool models, we would get to the point where you'd be able to say, "Hey, where's the chat window?" And it'll say, "It's right here," and pull it up for you.
yeah, Yeah. This is actually something I'm interested in, fine-tuning models and stuff. So I'll look into this. And I could talk to Beck about it too, so we don't slow you down.
Yeah.
Um,
I've done it a few times and I know how to do it. It is a slow, it would be because it's like there are so many details when it comes to fine tuning. It's like, and if you don't pay attention to them, you have just wasted your time on that
yeah,
model.
yeah. So I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
So let me take this, at least the initial part of this on and see how far I can get. And then that way we're not slowing you down.